guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. That's it, hosted by your girl Cheryl. Hope all of you are doing well. I have some breaking news for you guys. I know everyone have been talking about this in regards to Joe Biden pardoning his son Hunter Biden. You know, I always knew that that was going to happen. Even though Joe Biden has said it many times in his press release, his interviews, that that he's not going to pardon his son. He's not going to get involved. He's just going to let the system work itself out. Oh boy, I need to sit for this. Mm. He lied. He lied, which I knew, which I knew that he was going to pardon his son, and which I believe Hunter Biden knew as well. That my dad is still president of the United States, so he needs to get the ball rolling before Donald Trump gets into office on January 20th of 2025. He needs to help me out. That's what I'm thinking that Hunter Biden was saying. Like, Dad, you need to help me out because I don't think I'm gonna survive in prison, man. I don't think I'm gonna survive. You gotta get those charges go away. And sure enough, Joe Biden got the charges go away because he pardoned his son. Which I knew. A lot of people are shocked by this, which they shouldn't be because that's his son. That's his only son, his own living son. His other children passed and his first wife. So, Joe Biden, he's 88 years old. He doesn't want to see his son rot in prison for the rest of his life. And he had to do what he had to do. As a father, I get that. Okay, no father, no mother, no parent wants to see their child suffer or end up in prison. However, if you do the crime, you got to do the time. You got to pay for your consequences. You can't just say, oh, you know what? I'm above the law, so I can do whatever I want because my dad is the president of the United States, the most powerful man in the world, which he didn't even really do anything for the last 4 years. He didn't run the country. Let's just be honest here. He did not run the country. He had someone else run it for him. But since, he still had the power, I believe, because he still does, he pardoned his son. And I don't feel like that's right. That's the problem that I have. I'm like, no one's above the law. You can't just do whatever you want and just get away with it. But apparently he can because his son pardoned him. Me, I'm sorry if my son broke the law as far as robbing someone, the bank, or committed a crime or murder. I'm going to turn my son in. Yes, I'm going to turn my son in. Not because I don't love him. And I just want to be very clear. I do not have children yet. But I'm just saying, hypothetically speaking, if I did have a son, I would turn him in because I did not raise my son to be a criminal. Okay. I raised my son to be a God-fearing man, to be honorable, to be righteous, to do what's right, to be respectful, to be loved, and to have God be the center of his life. Not to be a criminal thinking that he can do whatever he wants, then I'm just going to be okay with it. No, because I didn't raise you that way. I didn't. I raised you as a God-fearing man, as a Christian home, to do the right thing, not to be a gangster or do whatever you want and thinking that you're above the law. No, I'm going to turn my son in. Not because I don't love my son, that my son needs to take accountability. He needs to take accountability of the mistake that he made so he can learn from it. No, well, some people learn from it. Probably not. Well, some people will learn from it, yes, and not make the same mistake again. It all depends on the person, and it all depends if they want to make their life good or make their life right again. It all depends on the person and the circumstances. Me, I will turn my son in. I'm sorry, I would. I will support my son. I will be there for my son, but I'm going to turn him in. Now, you have most parents, if their son committed a crime or did something, they will help their son cover it up. And to me, in my opinion, that's wrong. You're enabling your son because your son could feel like if he did something wrong, that he will have you to clean up his mess. And he's not going to take accountability. And what he does is not wrong because everything is spoon feeding him. You understand? Everything is spoon feeding him. And that's not helping that person. Just like it's not helping when Joe Biden is pardoning his son because I don't feel like Hunter Biden has learned. Has he? I don't know. I hope he does. I hope this is like a second chance, of redemption for Hunter Biden. I hope that this is a redemption that, that his father is cleaning up his mess, that he will get a second chance, that he would do things right and better for himself. I hope so. I hope so because God forbid if this happens again and if Hunter Biden do something illegal, then his daddy is not going to be helping him to save him because he's no longer going to be president of the United States. So Hunter Biden should count his lucky stars and be grateful. Be grateful to God that that his dad saved him. Have saved him. I don't agree with it. I really don't. Like I said, I can understand as a father aspect, but as a leader of the United States, you're not setting an example to the American people. You're not, because you're saying that, my son did all these crimes from 2016, pardon me, until present 2024, and he can get away with it because I pardon him. But then if there's a middle class person or a normal person, if they did something illegal, then they have to pay the consequences. I don't see how that's fair. I don't see how is that right. Um, Again, I don't even know what to say about it. I'm not surprised, to be honest with you. I know most people are talking about it. They're surprised, they're shocked. And if Joe Biden can do that for his son, in my opinion, Donald Trump should do it for the people that's still in prison from what happened on January 6th in the Capitol attack. So they should be pardoned as well. And I hope Trump pardons them all. I really do. And what happened in January 6th, I even believe what the far left said. Because at first I was not really, into Trump after what happened on January 6th, because I thought that he's told the protesters to attack the Capitol on January 6th. But then when I watched the whole footage, the real footage, because the Democrats and the far left maybe want you to believe that Trump told the protesters to barge in and try to hurt Nancy Pelosi and other people, when that was a lie. I was told a lie by the far left and the Democrats until I saw the whole real footage of what really happened. That opened my eyes. That opened my eyes to a lot of things that I don't believe the media, one, because they're liars, and I don't believe the far left because they're liars as well. So if Joe Biden can pardon his son, Donald Trump should pardon those people. What happened on January 6th, point blank, period. That's where I stand on this. Let me know your thoughts. I would really want to know your thoughts. If your son was in trouble or your son did something illegal, would you help your son cover it up? Would you help your son cover it up? Would you turn your son in? Again, this is an open space. If you want to comment, you can. I would love to get your thoughts about this. I already told you my thoughts about it. I'm turning my son in, point blank, period. I don't know how my husband would feel about that, but I'm turning my son in because I'm not going to enable anyone. You do something wrong, you got to pay the consequences. And hopefully you learn from the consequences that you don't do it again. That's just me, because I'm not going to enable none of my children at all. What's right is right, what's wrong is wrong, especially if I raise you the right way and then you just turn far left because something happened. No, 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 no. You come to talk to me or you pray about it. But again, that's just the way it is. At the end of the day, no one's above the law. If you do the crime, you got to pay the time. That's it. Just like everyone else, no one's above the law. I don't care if you're the most rich, powerful person in the world, you're not exempt. But it seems like for him, he is exempt because his dad is president of the United States and everything's going to be off the hook. Off the hook. Yeah, off the hook. All the charges are going to be dropped. Well, with that being said, I want to talk about another breaking news. Nikki Garcia. Anyone don't know Nikki Garcia? She is the Bella Twins. She was a former WWF Women Champion, and she has her podcast. She has reality shows. I really love watching them throughout the years. And she was in Dancing with the Stars with Artem. She used to date John Cena. He's a professional wrestler as well slash actor. And John Cena and Nikki Bella, I followed their relationship. They dated for a very long time. They got engaged, and obviously their engagement broke off because they wanted different things in life. I believe she wanted children. He was iffy about that, if he wanted kids or not, but she made it point clear she wanted marriage and children. She didn't want one or the other. And I understand because I can relate. I don't think any woman should choose one or the other, especially if you really want marriage and children. Why not? I don't think anybody should suffer one or the other. Why you can't have both? You should have both. With that being said, I love the chemistry between Artem and Nikki in Dancing with the Stars, even though Nikki was in a relationship with John Cena. But the chemistry was just ematic. Is that even a word, ematic? It was just electrified. Yeah, it was just electrified. It was just passionate. Very professional, though. Very professional on both parties. But I just really love those two dancing. together. And then when Nikki and John Cena broke up, I guess they Artem and Nikki, they linked up, and then they started talking and getting to know each other. They didn't make their relationship public yet because they wanted to get to know each other, and they just wanted their time, just the two of them, which I get because they're a public eye, and they just wanted to figure things out to see if this relationship was going to go anywhere. Well, apparently it did went somewhere because they made it public and they did told everyone they're a couple. And I really, really love their love story. Pardon me, I really, truly do. And they end up pregnant. They got Mateo was born. She always wanted to become a mom, and by the grace of God, she's a mother to a 4-year-old Mateo, which is so cute and super adorable. And then they got married. They got married in Paris, which they did a reality show, a 2-part series of a reality show of their wedding, which was so beautiful and so romantic. Stress, when it comes to when you're getting married, there's always stress. There's always something going on, but they pulled it through and they got married. And then you would think, everything was fine. Obviously in a marriage, there's always going to be some ups and downs. There's going to be challenges. You make it work. But apparently there was an incident on August that 911 was called, and Autumn, pardon saying right, was arrested for assault and battery, but then he got released. And I know, I said, I know. I did. That's what I wanted to say. I did an episode in regards to this when the incident broke that, Artem was arrested due to assault battery. But I always knew, and I stand by this, I always knew that he did not get physical with her. He really didn't. Would he raise his voice probably, or things got escalated? Yeah, with both parties. Yeah, of course. That's what happens when you get a heated discussion with with your spouse. But when I when I was when I read that she threw a shoe at him, like I'd be freaking out too if someone threw a shoe at me, whether it's a wedge or high heel shoes. That can hit your eye, that can hit your forehead, that can hit your chest. It can do a lot of damage. And on top of that, their son was there. You know what I mean? Witnessed the whole thing. So just imagine a 4-year-old there seeing two adults arguing, screaming. It can terrify any child, any child. So what I believe what happened, Artem removed their son from that situation and put him in his room. Then maybe the argument got heated again, and then after that it got de-escalated. Then he called 911 to cancel the 911 call, the first one that he made. I'm like, you can't do that. It's not like a credit card transaction that if you made a wrong transaction, you can just cancel it 1, 2, 3. No, this is 911. And if you call 911, you're going to have police knocking at your door, point blank, period. So he thought he could stop it, but it didn't work, and then he ended up arrested. Sure enough, there was no evidence to the point that Nikki Garcia was assaulted or anything. They dropped all the charges, thank God. But even though all the charges were dropped, the judge requests both of them to go to anger management counseling. I believe they did for the sake of their child, and then I believe Nikki wanted full custody of Artem, but I think that the judge did on joint custody, which I feel like joint custody is better in my opinion. I know some judge they lean more to the mom as full custody, but I feel like joint custody is better in my opinion for the child's sake, and I believe that's what the judge granted. But at the end of the day, it didn't work out. So Nikki Garcia broke her silence on her divorce with Artem, and she was like very sad about it to the point that she just didn't want to deal with the media. She just wanted to be left alone for a couple months just to decompress, just to think how this happened, how did she get here? She's a single mom, divorced, but she did not want it to do. Who wants to, get divorced and be a single mom? That's not what she signed up for. She signed up for a happy ending. She signed up for to be with this person for the rest of her life, someone that she would do anything for, that she stated. And apparently it didn't work out. Two people can grow apart or not see eye to eye on certain things. We don't know the ins and outs in their marriage. Only her, Artem, and God, the three of them. And we don't have the right to judge or say who was right or who was wrong, because we don't have a place in that. We can give our opinions. I know I can give my opinions and my thought about it, but I'm not judging, because I'm not in their marriage. But I know it wasn't easy for her to file for divorce. I know she tried to make it work for the sake of their son. And sometimes most people do that. Most people stay in a marriage for their kids' sake, and sometimes that can be good, and sometimes that can be bad. It all depends on the circumstances and how the marriage can be resolved and fixed. It all depends. But in her eyes, she thought that it was not going to work. That it probably would have got worse, and she didn't want her son to be around that. Which that's very noble of her, and probably him too. That at the end of the day, they want their son to be happy and love, and that's the most important thing. And I feel like that's the most priority for them, for their son to be happy and love. And it just heartbreaking that their love story ends. I was really rooting for them. I really was. But at the end of the day, she has to do what's best for her, what's best for her son. And same thing with Artem too, because they both said it. They want what's best for their son. That I can agree on, and they both agree on that. They want to know what's best. They want what's best for their son. Unfortunately, they couldn't, work things out together, that things fell apart and things happen. Again, we don't know the whole ins and outs of their marriage, only they do. And we have to respect that. And I know I do. I just feel bad for the situation. I feel bad for, Mateo, who wants to deal with a broken family, separate holidays, separate birthdays, pickups and stuff like that. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. But I know they're going to make it work as co-parents. And it's not easy. Obviously, they're going to figure it out. They're going to be in each other's lives for the rest of their life because they have a son together. They're still going to be a family, regardless whether even though they're not living together, they're living apart, but they're still a family no matter what. It's just going to take time. It's just going to take time and adjustment, like any divorce, because divorce is not easy. When you go into a relationship and marriage, everyone thinks that it's forever, it's going to last forever, but things happen. People change. You think you married that person that 20 years ago, 5 years ago, and people end up changing and it just doesn't work out. You have people that revolve and try to change together, and marriages do last for a long time. I've seen that happen with my parents and other people, and some people just drift apart. It all depends on the person, but I do wish them the best, the both of them. I wish them that they co-parent the best that they can. I know it's going to take time to heal all wounds, but at the end of the day, I know they love their son. I know they still have love for each other. I hope that they will make it work, and you never know, they might be friends again. Again, it takes time. It's not like overnight. They're going to be like, buddy buddy, but I know eventually with time and just respecting one another and respecting each other's boundaries and just communicating with each other in regards to their son, I think things are going to be okay. I think things are going to be okay, and I'm rooting for them. I really want them to have peace and be happy, and hopefully both of them will find love again. Hopefully, I'm praying for them to find love again, and hopefully they have that respect that at one point in their life they really loved and respect each other, that it will come back. Not meaning like as far as like friendship goes. There won't be no hatred, there won't be no animosity, that they will just come together as a family because they have a son together. And I'm hoping and praying for that. And I'm glad that she spoke her truth. Nikki Garcia, you may not agree with her. I don't know if people are picking sides. I'm not picking sides. I want both of them to be happy. And again, it broke my heart that the marriage didn't work out. I was really rooting for them that they will work things out. But apparently sometimes, people drift apart. People are just different. People are just, you think the person that you marry is one way and then they're another, and they're not willing to compromise. And that's the thing. If you're not willing to compromise or communicate, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Point blank, period. It's not going to work. It's all about communication, compromising, respecting one another, and just being there for each other. Point blank, period. But I'm wishing them both the best and love, peace, and happiness. And please, guys, don't judge them, especially Nikki, Bella, or Artem. Just don't judge them. Just listen what they have to say. And at the end of the day, it's their lives. And yeah, and they know what's best for their child, and they know the real story. Like I said, we don't. We can just give our opinions and our thoughts about it, and then just keep it moving. Keep it moving. That's it. Keep it moving. That is it. And that's all I have for you guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to what I have to say. Please subscribe, like, share below, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Bye.
Is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No. And I was very clear, and I said no. It's still a no. It's still a no.
It will always be a no.
It's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no, and I don't have anything else to add. Will he pardon his son? No. I've been very clear. The president's been very clear when we've been asked this question.
His son, Hunter, is also up for being sentenced next month. Does the president have any intention of pardoning him?
We've been asked that question multiple times. Our answer stands, which is no.